guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibottoms coming to you with another video review. And today, thanks to the folks at Fans Toys, we're going to be taking a look at a test sample of their FT-13 Mercenary, which is their version of a Masterpiece style Insecticon Shrapnel. And as you can see, much like their Grenadier or whatever they call them, this is a really nice representation of how kind of Shrapnel looked in the cartoon, the toy, all that kind of stuff. Now, much like their Grenadier, he does come with these legs right here that are a little bit more updated over the kind of G1 look, as well as the toy. The problem that mine have, though, is they are very loose. The screw, for some reason, I have to constantly keep tightening them. I got this little screwdriver right here. When you move them, they instantly kind of like loosen up the screw right there. So as you could see, initially they were pretty solid, and now as you move them or position them, they completely get floppy, and it's now terrible. So, like, again, you got these ones down here, they're not moving, they're doing pretty good, but as you rotate them to position them, they progressively get more and more loose. Now, again, this is a test sample, so I cannot fault them for anything on that, really. I just want you to be aware of it, that it's something that they will probably, and I'm trying to get the screw tightened again, though something that they'll probably fix on the final one. Get that flopping all over the place. At least I hope they would do. Now, again, you got these nicely articulated insect legs. You got a joint down here. You got a joint right there. You got a joint here. You got a joint here. They all have individual points of articulation on them and things like that, and you can see it just flops around again. Or if you really wanted to, you get all these extra pieces right here. Now, these pieces right here go on the back. They're going to replace what these legs would be. So you have a little bit more, again, of that cartoon look. And the color is obviously a little bit different. You got these little bits right here that will come and actually replace these front legs right here. And these are probably some of the pieces that people complain about the most, just because they're a very drab gray plastic. They're not really enhanced by any kind of paint or color or anything like that. And granted, the G1 sort of look was similar to this, but it would have been nice if maybe they put a little bit of a silver paint on there. And then the little side legs right here are replaced by these little gadgets. So we will put those on there. Obviously, it's something that will be a personal preference. You can use whatever you want. But as much as I do like the updated look on here, I think that in terms of the backpack, especially here with Mercenary, these more G1 style legs work a lot better in terms of compressing and looking just overall much better. He also does come with two different guns. You got a nice silver one as well as a just solid purple one. They're the exact same mold, nothing really changes. It just, again, depends on what do you want. Do you want kind of a cartoon sort of look, or do you want the G1 toy sort of look? And that's what you get with both of these. And it's the same exact thing here with the chest piece. You got this little bit more clear amber sort of color, which resembles the more toy style look. And then you got this just yellow solid color piece, which resembles more of the actual animation. So we'll put all that stuff on here. Well, I'm not going to put the chest piece on there. I don't personally like that. I want my figures looking like, you know, the cartoon. Now, for a comparison, here we have these guys. One piece, you know, people have kind of complained about some of the color matches on there. You can definitely see that this is a more yellowish of a color, whereas this has a little bit more of a gold in it. It's not overly bad, you know, in terms of the recreation, but I do hope that maybe they will tone this down or get a little bit better of a match to the yellow that's on here. The other thing that people have complained about is the purple color. There is more of a metallic color here with the purple on Grenadier. I don't know why they decided to go with that. The feet here actually kind of have it, but when you look at the arms up here in the shoulder area, you can see that you got this nice glossy paint here, whereas this is a very matte color. And again, that's kind of throwing some people off. For the comparison, though, in insect mode, you can see that Grenadier I do have with the insect legs that are more kind of cartoon looking. So I do have that. You do have these, again, you know, they're kind of flopping all over the place, and it's so, but for the sizes here, I mean, you can see that the scale works really very nicely, I think. You know, these guys were a little bit smaller than the majority of the Decepticons, and I think that the scale that they decided to go with for these guys works fairly well with that kind of recreation. Also for articulation, I guess you could say that his little pinchers here do move forward and back. They don't go up and down or anything. They're not on ball joints. I kind of wish that they were on ball joints. The Bad Cube version did have ball jointed ones on here, which I did kind of appreciate a little bit more. But I don't think that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination. This is a really great throwback, and this is definitely a figure that does a great job of kind of capturing that masterpiece aesthetic, I think. Now, to transform them, first what we're going to do here is come around here to the bottom section. We're going to split these legs a little bit to be able to untab this section and just lift that up and get that out of the way, just like so. Then you want to take these little feet. These are going to tab right into this black section here. So just lift that, and then you can see this whole section here shifts down just like that. So again, do that on this side. You're going to get that out of the way. This whole upper section is on a hinge and it shifts down a little bit. So just kind of do that. Then you can extend the legs, give that a nice little push on both sides, extend that all the way down just like so. Then these angle up like that, angle that up just like that. Make sure that these are collapsed all the way in, and there you have the legs. Honestly, that's as simple as it gets. Take these hands, you can then detach these, rotate these around like so, and then tab them in just like that, kind of bring that down like that. So you're going to, they tab in here, so you want to detach it from there. If it hasn't detached already, then you're going to, again, get this out of the way. You're going to rotate this around, and then you bring it in and connect it to the other half of the forearm, just completing the rest of the arm. Rotate the torso right there. This section right here, you're going to take this, slide this out just like so, and then swivel this back and just kind of get this out of the way. Do that on both sides here, and then you're kind of fiddling with a lot of this stuff, and this is where it kind of gets ugly in terms of the backpack. You're really fiddling to try to get a kind of acceptable look for it. So you bring that in, bring that around, and I did not get instructions with this, so it is kind of up to you on how you want your figure to be positioned. So I'm just going to do the best that I can. You got this little notch right here that's going to slot into his back. Just pull that up, get these down along the side here. Again, like I said, you're just doing the best you can to kind of minimize how this backpack looks. So collapse all that, collapse here, get that down, and then before you do all that, make sure you bring these all the way back and then push these back in along the back section here. So again, bring this up and then slot that in just like so, and then like I said, you just kind of collapse all of this to make it look as good as possible. You maybe bring that up, I guess. Personal preference, really. I mean, you can hide it. I mean, you can see from the front, you don't really see it all that well, but when you look at the back, it is really all there. So rotate these around, rotate these around. Going to extend this out. These little pieces here come up, lift up out of the way, revealing his head. Then take this whole chest section here. This is kind of tough to get into. Bring this down, and then grab hold of both of these arms and stretch them out. That extends the shoulder pieces out, and then you bring this up. That should lock into place if you get it pulled out all the way. Maybe it doesn't actually tab all the way in. It doesn't seem like it wants to tab in all the way. Maybe it shouldn't, because that actually fills that in, but that's okay. That doesn't look all that bad like so. And then, like I said, just position these, kind of fiddle these how you want your little antenna, or I don't even know what these are called for a bug. I don't know, little pinchers, you know, position those just like that. Get them situated, and there you have Mercenary in his robot mode. And again, really, when you look at it, this is a great representation of how Shrapnel looks. I really am very impressed. And when I talk about how, you know, Fans Toys is able to nail the masterpiece aesthetic, I really think that this is a figure that kind of exemplifies that. It really has that look that we come to expect, you know, in terms of recreating the character. The level of transformation is pretty simple. I mean, it's a smaller, simplified figure, so it makes sense that it's going to have a little bit more of a simple transformation. It's not overly complex like, you know, some figures such as ones that are made by Bad Cube, but it's definitely a fun transformation. And I'm just really taken away by how great this guy looks and how nice they actually capture that likeness. There is a good deal of heft in him. He does have some die cast kind of thrown out through the entire body of the figure, so you do get a good heavy feel for him. And like I said, if you come around here to the back, you can take a lot of these pieces and kind of replace the insectoid sort of legs with these other pieces right here. We're going to do that here in a little bit. I'm going to cut it because it's literally just replacing some screws and stuff. But I do think that just in general, this is going to help kind of minimize the overall bulk of the backpack and kind of give it that more, you know, G1 style look. Like I said, you can also replace the chest piece. You can put that right there essentially. You got a little bit of a translucent plastic here. Now, like I said, I don't particularly like this kind of look. I like the cartoon kind of look for it, so I'm going to leave that on there. But again, you have the different options for the gun. You can do the more toy accurate sort of chrome look or the more cartoon accurate purple sort of look. I kind of like using the silver one, even though that this is more toy oriented, just because this is a lot of purple, you know, when you're putting it on here with the arm and stuff. So I think that this in general is a better overall look. You just get that in there. It's kind of tricky to do because you got this little piece that hangs down, so you kind of have to put it in here, get it on an angle, and set it up just like that. But I mean, I really do think that that look is really fun. Now for comparison, setting him off to the side, here's his buddy Grenadier, or however you say the name. And again, size-wise, these work really nice, but you can definitely see in terms of a color, a slight disturbance in it. You got that very nice glossy paint on here, whereas this has this very matte color. That does throw some people off, there's no question about it. Both of these are test samples, so, you know, in terms of the actual retail changes, I'm not sure what changed too terribly much. I do eventually want to buy the retail version that comes with, you know, the gray chest on here, just because, again, I like that cartoon accurate look. But you can also see that with the chest, that there is a more yellowish tone to this one. So people's complaints, I suppose, about them not matching the color is a valid one, but I don't think it's that much of a difference. When you still look at it kind of like at a glance, I still think it looks really nice. Now, obviously, he doesn't have a Decepticon logo. I did put one on here, but, you know, that it's all really what you personally want to do. You got some nice silver paint here for the thighs. You got some nice goldish yellow down here on his feet. And just overall, a really solid look for the guy. I'm very, very happy with him. Now, for his articulation, again, these pieces do rotate, but as you can see, when you do lift them up, it kind of makes these other pieces kind of flex down. So if you want to keep those like that, you kind of have to keep these straight out like so. So that's one aspect that kind of stinks. I do wish I could keep those completely flat out to the side and not have to worry about these being straight out to the side as well. Or it's not too bad. Got a nice head sculpt here. You got the nice kind of reflective visor there for his face. It looks really nice. It is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion with that. The shoulders here are on hinges, so you can rotate those around. They can also swivel outward. Come down here to the bicep area, and right above the elbow, you can rotate there. You also got two joints here for his elbow, so you get a nice range of motion. I really love how they actually have the guns molded in here on the bottom part of the forearm. Really very nice. The wrists do rotate, and they can also open at the main set of knuckles, so you get this articulation right at this point right there. The wrists or the waist, I guess as part of the transformation, it does rotate, but it's also something that works very nicely. The hips here are on kind of swivels. You got a swivel going forward and back, and then you've got a bit of a hinge kind of going in and out. You got a swivel here at the upper part of the thigh. You got one joint here, but I do like how as you bend it, kind of fills that in, so it doesn't necessarily look too terribly ugly. I like like that actual feature. The ankles here do kind of pivot around like so, and then you can see that there's some nice ankle tilt, so you can get very wide poses with the guy, so stretching his legs out like so, you got that. So you can get a lot of really dynamic poses. And again, when I think of Masterpiece figures, I think of, you know, their, you know, resemblance to the character that they're supposed to be, and the overall engineering for it. The transformation on this guy is pretty simple, but it works fairly nicely. And then all the poses that you could want to put him into, you can definitely achieve with this guy. Now, like I talked about, replacing these back sections here really is just a matter of replacing some of these screws. So you unscrew this, and then you'll just bring this in and you'll put this on here. I'm going to do that real quick, and then we're going to come back and take a look how the backpack looks with those more G1 kind of looking limbs. And honestly, it doesn't really compress it all that much. I mean, it's still there. There are certain things that you can position these how you really want and stuff, but they're definitely still there, or it's definitely still there in terms of the backpack. It does make the little extra arms less floppy, and I think in the insect mode it looks a little bit better, but he still definitely has the backpack. That's not going away, but as I said, this is the preferred look that I have for him, so that's how I'm going to keep it. But I mean, in general, and you know, even from the front, so I mean, it still looks pretty good from the front. I don't think he really looks all that bad, you know, with either of the limbs. It's just a personal preference kind of thing, I guess. But overall, I'm really very happy with how this guy turned out. Now, to transform him back into his bug mode, we're just going to take these, we're going to collapse these over his face. It's kind of tricky to do, honestly. You get that kind of as a leverage point, and you can bring that around just like so. We're going to move all this stuff out, just kind of get this. And one thing that is actually kind of cool is the fact that these do stay in a lot tighter, so they're not flopping around kind of causing havoc. Get these arms out of the way. We're going to take this section here along the side, and this detaches out like so, and then you just swivel that around, bring that in just like that. Do that on this side as well. Bring that out, swivel that around just like so, and kind of tuck that in there. Come down here, we're going to open this chest piece up, and then you want to take these arms and you want to collapse these in, and you're going to see that the little slot section on the inside slides in. So if you can see that pushes all the way in, then you can bring this up. That closes now completely. Come around here to the back section. Again, well, rotate these around just like so. Position that. You're going to angle these back, detach this. Here we're going to bring these up and tab these into place on the back section here. So get this out of the way, get that out of the way, and then you bring this around, bring this up, find that little tab section. There it is right there. So you're going to bring this in, you're going to swivel this down, keep that detached, swivel that down, and then rotate this around, keep these hands tucked in there, and then you just bring this in. This is kind of, you got to get this on the hinge, move that back on the other joint right up there at the top section there, and then you can bring this in nice and easy, and then that tabs in right there. So again, angle this up like so, make sure that that's collapsed all the way in, rotate that around, and then you bring this in, that'll tab into place. It's kind of hard to see, but you'll get it nice and flush, and you'll be able to get everything lined up properly. Again, you can then fiddle with these if you want. You can angle these out. They're going to come out anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. Rotate this around. These, like now I said, like I was talking about, get really tight right up in there. So bring that up just like that, and that's going to come around here. But again, leave that right there. Take these, detach that just like so, and then you want to take this section here, loosen this up, and this is going to accordion back along this hinge. So bring that up like that, and then a lot of this stuff is going to come undone when you collapse these in. So just push that as far up as you can. Make sure that you hinge this section back all the way. Get that nice and pushed all the way up like so. Kind of get that. It's kind of tricky to do because you want to make sure that you get that all the way up like so, then collapse that. There we go. And then you can see this section here is going to line up with the actual leg. Then bring this up, and this will tab down, kind of push everything, kind of keep that nice and straight. We're going to fiddle with all this stuff here in a little bit, because like I said, in moving it, you're probably going to knock some stuff out. That's just the way that it is. I mean, you could fiddle with it now, but you're probably going to knock it loose again here in a second. So take this, angle this all the way up, and then collapse these legs. Make sure you don't pinch your finger. Get that up there, just like that. And there we go. Get that foot out of the way. Bring this in, kind of line this up. And again, you're just fiddling with all this stuff to get it to line up properly right there, just like that. Then you want to kind of position that. Don't tap those all the way together just yet, because you're going to bring this around, and you got this section, kind of angle these back and around. This little piece right here is going to go in between there, so just kind of bring that up, position that around so that locks in, and then you can squeeze these legs together. Well, if you have them all pushed up, squeeze that together nice and secure. That's going to lock everything together. Again, make sure that these feet tab in. You got these little tiny notches that tab into holes on the bottom of the, or on the top of this black section here. So then again, just angle these feet back, position all that. You're going to push those hands or those forearms back into place. Position these little bug arms, position that, and then this rotated around the wrong way, and then get that just like so. Did I have that the right way? Yeah, something like that. And you can go like that, like that. You can go like that. You can, again, position these however you really want. But once you're done, there you have him. I'll make sure that that stays tabbed in. There you have him back in his insect mode. And again, this is how he looks now with those more G1 kind of limbs on here. And I think just in general, this looks a little bit better. I don't mind the other ones. Yes, mine were a little bit floppy. That's not really why I don't like those. I just think that this looks a little bit better. Now granted, the coloring here kind of throws things off because it doesn't match with the rest of the coloring. This is just a drab kind of color, but in general I think that it looks pretty good. One thing that I also forgot to mention is he does have storage for his weapons. Underneath here you got a little peg hole right there that you can take the bottom of the handle and you can just squeeze that in there just like so. So you can have weapon storage for him if you really wanted to, but that kind of looks strange if you ask me. But all in all, I really do like the guy. I think that, like I said, the representation of the character is really, really there. I love the fact that you have the ability to kind of customize them to make them look how you want. You can have that more updated sort of look with much more articulated bug legs for them, or you can go with a more simplified kind of G1 toy / cartoon look. I think that works nicely, you know, and gives collectors that ability to kind of pick and choose what look they want. The transformation is pretty simple, but you know, they were simple just in general. So again, that's something that I really like about the Masterpiece sort of line. Even, you know, the official sort of figures, you know, they're simplified versions of what they were before. And I think that this kind of carries through with that. So I think Fans Toys does a great job of capturing that aesthetic, like I said. And then when you get him to his robot mode, it just looks spot on. It absolutely captures that Shrapnel look. And just in general, these guys are really coming out very nicely looking. Now, as for Mercenary here, he is going to be hitting retail fairly soon. As I said, this is a test sample, so typically speaking, we're looking at about a month to 2 months or so before we get the final version. That's kind of the turnaround for him. So if this is a figure that you're interested in picking up, head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. All you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description, and you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the Fans Toys figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus, and until next time, I'll talk to you later.